Victor Dinsmore gave multiple statements. Correct?
I know. I talked to him. It wasn't giving a statement. I was just interviewing. I know that what we played today is one. I believe they had been up to interview him another time. Whatever is in the IRs, then that's how many statements he gave. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I know there were, that's 3 right there. Well, two official statements, the recorded one and then the earlier one. So yes, that's multiple.
Does it create alarm flags in you on a case largely built on what people say, what people said?
Okay.
That pressure was put by law enforcement, and after pressure was applied, statements became exactly what law enforcement wanted.
That's not my experience here.
In this case, it's not your experience.
No.
This Brent Booth is just a one-off. Or you say it's not even a... Victor Dinsmore, in your opinion, didn't change his testimony because of any pressure Brent Booth applied.
Yeah, I didn't consider it pressure.
What do you consider?
I considered it him trying to jog his memory. And had I been doing the interview, after hearing the proffer, I would not have led.
Okay, so you're aware Autry said what happened is after the Yellow Springs drop-off, the truck got put in Victor Dinsmore's garage, right?
You saying that's what Autry said?
Yes, sir.
No. I don't recall Autry saying that.
You don't?
That was a theory that I had.
He's just saying he randomly came up with this theory, even though he knew specifically he wanted the truck to be in the barn and that they had to move rims to do it. And he's describing to Victor Dinsmore in the recordings that you don't remember him having to move the rims out? Because that's what's going to be testified to. But now he's acting like this is information just spontaneously came to mind for him. And again, this couch is right between the proffer sessions with Autry that aren't memorialized until June. But Booth is sitting here on the stand in 2025 making representations to the court under oath that this whole truck parking in the garage thing was a random theory. It's not what Autry said. It didn't come from Autry.
You're saying that this was not Autry. You're saying it was a theory you explored with the same truthfulness you answered regarding seeing the ATM video prior to trial. Right?
You lied about
Theory
that too.
that I explored, yes.
Okay. You remember going to Indianapolis
I did.
and seeing Victor Dinsmore,
I did.
and you remember recording this conversation.
I did.
And you acted appropriately at all times in this conversation that you recorded with Mr. Dinsmore, correct?
Yes.
So then they're going to run back and play, and then this video cuts out. But I want to run back. Where did this rim story come from? Did somebody feed the rim story to Jason Autry? How did Brent Booth, if we take him at his word in these 2025 post-conviction relief hearings, how did he come up with this rim story? Because he's telling us in 2025 that it didn't come from Jason. So how did Jason start talking about it? He testified under oath that he had this information.
Dinsmore comes out, and the fight stops. I look to my right, which is inside the carport, and there's this identified lady standing there. I didn't know who she was. They get back in the truck. Dinsmore walks up there. We purchased the pill. Dinsmore said, "Your wife said she spoke to you." And Zach said, "I moved 4 rims in your shop to get my truck in.
So it cannot be true that it was just a random theory that just, he had a vision. Brent Booth had a vision. And again, that recording where Booth is mentioning it to Dinsmore is in 2017. It's this time frame, right between the proffer and then the proffer being recorded.
And let me tell you what'll be testified to.
Okay.
This might help you remember. Zach was driving. He was sitting on the passenger side.
Yep.
Austin was in the middle.
Yep. That's right.
And Dylan was sitting back there in the back seat
I didn't see Dylan. When they come to Dottie's,
when they come to Dodge.
I didn't see Dylan.
He said they pulled up and you was in the garage. He says that also Zach had taken his truck and put it in your garage, and that he had told you, or he had seen you when he brought it over there.
Me?
He saw you when he put the truck in the garage. And I know the truck was there. I know it wasn't there because we've pulled recordings and pulled tapes from 911, and Dick says that the truck, he didn't have his truck that afternoon. That he had taken it to
it wasn't our house,
your
but
garage.
Somehow Dinsmore is aware, and we heard in the post-conviction relief hearings, we heard that when Zach gets the car impounded on April 4th, before Holly's abduction on the 13th, Grandpa, since the car is in Grandpa's name, has to go get the car out of impound because it's his name on the title of the vehicle. And he goes and stores it at a relative's house. Dinsmore, pushing back against the information, Brent Booth is trying to poke and prod and, hey, we have something on you. We know this information. We know the truck was there. Victor Dinsmore volunteers this information back in 2017. And I think it's a very credible moment.
he just borrowed my brown truck so he could go up to Decaturville. That's the only time he left his
He
truck
didn't
at
have
my
that
house.
truck.
Was that day?
No.
So let's run that back because I cut right into the middle part. He didn't have that truck.
The truck, he didn't have his truck that afternoon. That he had taken it to
it wasn't our house,
your
but
garage.
Yeah, he just borrowed my brown truck so he could go up to Decaturville. That's the only time he left his truck at my house.
Was that day?
No, that wasn't that day. So,
Well,
now I know he didn't hide the damn thing in my pole barn.
Now, knowing that context about the April 4th impound, what Grandpa says, and the way Vincent's like, no, like, he might have borrowed a different truck, a brown truck, but it wouldn't have been that day anyway. That seems like very genuine recollection, if you ask me.
He might have parked it out the side, beside my pole barn and let it there for a minute, but I don't remember that day, buddy.
Listen,
well,
remember?
now, according to him, according to him, and according to what we got from Dick, that's
Now, which
where he
truck
did
are you
it.
talking about?
The little old white Frontier.
He told me the day that he wanted the brown truck while you guys were doing that because he hid his truck in Caterville, that white one, because of that thing that happened in
See,
Natchez Trace.
they're telling you something that ain't right there because that white truck wasn't stored in my house. I'd tell you if it was.
They said they hid it in Decaturville because of that stuff in Natchez Trace Park.
Yep, that's right. So, but
And remember, that April 4th arrest was Natchez Trace Park. That's the incident that Sandy and Victor are both volunteering in 2017. The trial didn't happen yet. How would they have known all these details? They don't have a discovery packet, but they have first-person recall of somebody telling them, like, I need to borrow this brown car because we don't have this other truck because they tried to impound it. And now my grandfather doesn't want me driving it, which is why I need to use a different vehicle. But Brent Booth is like, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to ignore that. The truth became irrelevant to Brent Booth.
I don't remember him storing that truck at my house.
That's what he says. That's what's going to be testified to. They had to move 4 rims to get it in there. And that he saw you when he was putting it in there.
No rims.
And you knew you saw him putting it in there. Of course, you didn't know nothing. There ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm just trying to nail it down. You wouldn't have thought nothing about him putting it in there. I mean,
I thought he might have now, Brent, damn it.
well,
You know, I was doing a lot of dope right then, okay, and I mean the meth and stuff, so, but he might have.
according to what Jason is going to testify to, is he told you that when he pulled up over there at Dottie's, that he said, I put my truck in your garage. I saw Sandy. She knows it's in there. I had to move 4 rims to get it in there.
No, that didn't happen.
I don't remember that.
No, she would remember that.
I would
That
remember
didn't
that.
Well, it's something that don't mean.
It
wouldn't
don't mean
necessarily
fiddly
mean
shit
that.
to me because we didn't do it.
Could it have happened?
It could have happened.
Okay.
It could have happened, man. I can't say no, damn it.
I know.
You know, I was smoking weed, I was drinking liquor, I was doing meth, and I just didn't want to be here no more.
I got
so
it.
I can't hardly remember shit. But when I do tell you I remember. So
It helps me. It helps this case.
Helps
If
me.
you can remember. The more pressure I put on him, the more y'all can remember, and the more it helps push this damn case to where maybe at a plea. That's what I'm saying.
They want to
Maybe a damn plea.
are they chancing to get out?
No. Well, you know, you
Come
never
on
know
now.
what a damn jury's.
That kind of indicates on Booth's part that he knows that they need information to bring this prosecution to a jury. Because they don't have enough. Still at this point in time, when the death penalty is already hovering over people's heads, they don't have enough.
Gonna do, but I gotta know.
And remember, Autry's trial date before the continuance and before the sudden discovery disclosure and the proffer agreement was supposed to be April. And we're in May of 2017.
I just got the more details that I can nail down, the better I am. No, he ain't getting out.
He may have.
I think maybe he did, damn it.
The same day they took Holly.
Yep. Yep, would have been probably around lunchtime, maybe a little later.
And that, I was real sick then too,
Yeah,
so
'cause I had her
in
at
and
the
out of the
hospital.
You were in
I bet you, my
Yeah.
God, it probably did happen. Because that's when he kind of had a free run on my property.
Yep.
You know, I trusted him a little bit. So.
Yeah, we thought he was just a good old boy.
Good old country boy that
Good
liked
old-
guns and shit like that. But
Yep,
okay, yeah,
that could have happened.
yeah, it happened.
He could have.
Yeah, let's just, yeah,
It did?
yeah, let's say it happened. Because I'm starting to think now, I got rid of the boat, because that's what I went to whoop that one-legged guy's ass over, because he never paid me for my boat. The boat wasn't in there. And then Holly got taken. I was there. Yeah, you know what? By God, he might have.
So where
But
was
it was-
Holly when they came to Dottie's?
They'd already killed her.
She remembers.
They'd already killed her and dumped the body. And that's why he needed to hide the truck. Still had blood in the back of it.
That son of a bitch. Yeah, if that's neat, but I say, yeah, they had that truck there. And the wheels they had to take off.
Is that
and
why
move.
he borrowed the brown truck then?
Probably.
Probably is. Now, the more I think about it, that's the timing where I was off.
He would have borrowed the brown. He would have got your brown truck from the house and went
And
on
then
home.
I had to drive his old black truck, and it made me very upset. And I told him, no, I'm not
Yeah, I
driving
remember
this
that.
thing.
She wouldn't
Because I
drive
don't
it.
do drugs, and I'm not getting caught with somebody else's shit.
Was that the white truck?
That was
would have
the
been
black
That was the
truck.
black truck he had me.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
From your house?
The black truck was at my house. The white truck, I don't remember ever being parked at my house, Brent. I'm talking about the black truck. I definitely remember being at my house, sitting right outside by my house. But the white truck, I don't remember. So, but it might have, man. Okay,
Okay.
it might have. So,
All right. Here's one other thing I've got to know.
okay.
One other thing I need you to say.
And you got that letter of immunity. Y'all know you're not in trouble for nothing.
Oh, I've been doing. Brent's trying to help, man.
I know. All right, I got to ask you a hard question.
Go
You're
ahead.
not going to like it,
Go ahead.
but I got to know. Were they getting morphine from you?
At first, yeah, they were getting some pills of morphine off of me.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good.
Yep.
Did they get some that morning from Dottie's when they came over there?
No.
Sure. That's what's going to be testified to.
He got it
But
that
that's
day.
why Autry says that he couldn't get them from you because you didn't trust him.
So now we know that we need to corroborate Jason Autry's detail about we went there to get a pill.
But he gave his money to Zach, and Zach bought morphine from you that afternoon.
He might have.
That's me, I don't know
He
about
might
that
have.
shit they were doing.
Was Shane getting them from you too?
Yeah, Shane was heavy on him. He was trading guns, anything he could do to get the damn thing.
Did he trade you that gun?
He might have. I got a couple off of him,
'Cause
Brett.
that's going to be said too.
Yeah.
That's going to be said too.
Because I got 2 or 3 guns off him. I'm not going to lie. Assault rifles and 22s and probably a pistol. So, yeah. Yeah.
Now, we've heard a lot from, and I think even without having to like rewatch and piece things together, I picked up Doug Bates throughout the post-conviction hearing saying like, look, there was this 22 rifle and then it was a 357 and then we get this 32 revolver and you guys didn't question anything about it. What I didn't piece together till today was this timing. We have Nichols meeting with Jason Autry on May 8th. 10 days later, Dinsmore, and we haven't even gotten to the 19th yet. We're starting to get the story coming together. And then we have this report for the May 8th meeting generated on June 12th. It's almost like we needed to iron out some details from Autry to make sure we didn't memorialize anything that would be challenged or debunked or proven false on May 8th until we ironed out some details and got 2 things in line before we memorialized the May 8th meeting in this report for Jason Autry. Why didn't we memorialize this meeting until June 12th? Until after we've spoken with Dinsmore. And remember, we heard questions. Were you concerned, Miss Nichols, that Brent Booth was supporting perjury with Vincent Dinsmore? Why did he go back on the 19th? We heard about that. Why would Doug ask those questions to Jennifer Nichols? What do you think happened between the 18th and the 19th? Because my gut is Brent Booth calls Jennifer Nichols, says, all right, we've got these lined up. This is what they said. They're saying this type of firearm. They're saying this. Well, how did you get them to say all that? You have that recorded? That's not, you got to make sure you're not putting words in his mouth. And then we have to have Dinsmore re-interviewed the next day. Like, it's all, like the pieces are falling together. It's taken me a few weeks to get here. But holy moly. So let's get back to the crazy. So let's get all the guns, because I got 2 or 3 guns off him, I'm not going to lie.
Assault rifles and 22s and probably a pistol. So, yeah.
Probably a pistol.
Yeah. Heavy on him. He was trading guns, anything he could do to get the damn thing.
Did he trade you that gun?
He might have. I got a couple off of him,
'Cause
Brett.
that's going to be said too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got 2 or 3 guns off him. I'm not going to lie. Assault rifles and 22s and probably a pistol. So, yeah. Yeah, I was pretty fucked up, but I do remember a lot of dealing going on, so.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And the pistol's critical because Jason Autry says he saw Shane with like the pistol on his hip, and he has to make this exchange because he's calling it a pistol. Somehow it ends up becoming a revolver, is the murder weapon at trial that Jason identifies. But he uses the word pistol. Even in his testimony, I think he says he saw the pistol on his hip. And I'm assuming that's what was said in the proffer. So we need a pistol mentioned by Dinsmore in this interview to get us anywhere.
That helps me.
That helps me.
Yeah.
That's not easy to say.
Booth must have been at least as worried about how that interview sounded as I am, because the next morning, Booth went to Dinsmore's home and recorded this interview just to clean things
May
up.
19th.
Victor, I want to tell you both, I didn't want to put words in your mouth yesterday. And I wanted to clear some things up about what we talked about. And the more I thought about it, and I didn't want you saying anything that wasn't true. Particularly when I asked you about that Zach's truck and him parking that behind your house that day. Did that happen?
Yes, it did. Now that her and I have really sit and talked last night, we remember, yes, it did happen. But the white truck was there for just a short period of time. The black truck is what I thought it was there parked in my driveway on the side of my barn for a week or two, wasn't it? The white truck was sitting. I remember because she told me that they brought the tires and wheels. They were talking about the tires and wheels. I remembered that I had tires and wheels stored in there that I took off of an old truck to put in my 72. Okay. So they had to move those to get it in there and set it in my garage. But then I was in Nashville, I believe, doing some work, and it's when they came and got it. So.
You said you remembered Sandy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember, now that you said something, I can remember seeing them come with the white truck, but I thought they parked it on the side of the barn, not inside.
It was in the barn.
It was in the barn?
It was in the barn. The black truck was parked outside the
And
barn.
I was sick at the time, so I didn't stay out there or anything. I just peeked
And
out
she
to see
does
who was
remember.
there.
She remembers Dick coming and getting the truck. So.
Do you?
And
Yeah.
see, I worked for Dick at the water company.
Okay.
So she knew Dick.
How long was the truck there?
It wasn't there very long.
2 or 3 days maybe,
Gone.
and Dick came and got it.
Who brought him over there?
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
Probably somebody from the water department.
Yeah, water department, probably.
Okay.
At that time, though, Brent, they
See how they're trying to morph that story? They remember the Natchez State Park, Natchez Trace Park, the arrest, and how Grandpa had the truck. They're like, no, you're wrong, Booth, because that couldn't be so. The car was somewhere else. They took the car to Decaturville after they got it out of impound. And now they're like, yeah, you know what? We'll put Dylan and Zach's grandfather, we'll put Dick in the story, and we'll just say he came and got the car from over here. Because it's kind of true. So it'll make some of the pieces line up. We thought about it overnight. But it was gut instinct for them to tell Brent Booth the day before, no, that car couldn't have been here because it was over in Decaturville. And they knew very specifically something that didn't have to be fed to them.
we had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, we had no idea.
No.
I understand.
We had no idea.
So, and to me, parking a vehicle at my house was nothing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care.
Especially when they tell us that it's because of the Natchez Trace stuff. I remember that very clearly.
Yeah. So
Do you remember that being that specific day?
What specific day?
The day she disappeared.
See, I don't
No, I
remember.
don't remember it being that specific day.
Because the only way we knew that she disappeared was it was on the news.
Yeah.
And we-
I've never seen this document.
Okay. Is it TBI's position, well, let me ask, is it your understanding that TBI's position was, in any investigation, accuracy is not the issue is consistency?
No, sir.
In other words, if two people say different things, in your training, were you taught how to investigate and interview witnesses?
Yes.
And is it important for you, when you're interviewing a witness, to get the truth from them, even if it's inconsistent with another witness?
Yes.
Because the other witness might be lying.
That's what an investigation is, to try to determine what the truth is.
Dinsmore comes outside.
Natalie Bobo left me with the impression that the victim would
I
have
testified that I didn't know exactly word for word, but what I could remember of the conversation. As I told you before, I couldn't rehearse word for word.
His testimony was some of the most credible, persuasive testimony I've ever heard given in a courtroom.
And it answered many questions that were left open factually in the investigation. It answered many questions that Karen and Dana had about what happened to their daughter, and it was a very important piece in getting justice for Holly.